Morning everybody, and a special good morning to all the pupils, parents and teachers from Holy Trinity and Lowbrook. My name is Mr. Gosling and I have decided to video a series of YouTube videos to help parents out with some maths. Having spoken to some friends, some colleagues, it seems there's a little bit of anxiety amongst parents about things like printing off worksheets and explaining mathematical concepts. So everything hopefully the children will need is on the board, apart from a pencil and paper. So I'll go through each lesson and the children can pause it when the questions come up, do the questions, and then I'll go through and explain it afterwards. So that's basically the drill, so let's crack on. We're going to start every maths lesson with a little bit of mental maths, and your challenge is to be quicker than me. So some different questions are going to fly up on the board. You've got to shout them at your screen before I turn and shout them at the camera. Now I know what you're going to say, it's cheating, Mr. Gosling, you know what questions that are coming. I've got someone else to write these, so I am seeing them for the first time, okay? Now, if I do make a mistake on the board, my class will tell you it is a deliberate mistake. So no need to comment or contact me to say I've made a mistake. I'm well aware of it, and well done if you spotted it. So here we go. Number one, you've got to be quick. 4 times 3, 12. Told you you've got to be quick. 42. 15 divided by 3, 5. 5 times 9, 45. 84 divided by 12 is 7, I believe. 57 plus 8, 65. 108 divided by 9 is 12. 16 times 3. 48. So if you're wondering how I did this in my head, I partitioned the 16 to make it a 10 and a 6. And I did 10 times 3, which is 30, and 6 times 3, which is 18, and then I added them together to make 48. 5 squared. 25. 70 times 5. 350. So for this one, I knew that 7 times 5 was 35. 70 times 5, well, 70 is 10 times bigger than 7. So the answer is going to be 10 times bigger. So I'll put that 0 on the end. Of course, when you multiply something by 10, it moves over a column and you pop the 0 on the end. 3 cube, oh dear, cube numbers. 27. 29 times 3. 87. So I'll tell you how I did this one in my head, and rather than partition it, I knew that 30 times 3 is 90, and I knew that 29 was 1 less than 30, so I did 1 times 3 is 3, and took it away to make 87. 11 squared. 121. Square root of 64. 8. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 squared. 44 times 5. Oh, it's getting tricky now. 220. The way I did this one in my head was the partition again. I did 40 times 5 and 4 times 5, added them both together. 180 divided by 3. So 18 divided by 3. 60. I knew that 18 divided by 3 was 6, and again, pop that 0 on the end. 3.6 times 2. 7.2. 21 divided by 2. So 20 divided by 2, 1 divided by 2. 10.5. So I knew that half of 20, 20 divided by 2 is 10, half of 1 is 0.5, and again add them together, 10 and 0.5 is 10.5. 9 cubed. Oh my word. Always get the kids to learn their cube numbers. I believe 729. 15 divided by 4, so half and half again. Quick way to divide by 4. .75, I believe. You managed to do that on your head. Very, very good indeed. Cool, right, let's crack on with the main lesson. So we're going to start our lessons, as we often do the school year, with a little bit of place value. So our learning intention for today is to read and write numbers up to 10 million, and then round numbers to the nearest 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000 and 100,000. Before we go on to the rounding, it's really, really important, obviously, that children can read and write the numbers correctly and accurately. And afterwards, the questions should get progressively harder, and then there is some best in the business bonus questions at the end for those super tricky reasoning skills. So anyone who wants to get onto those, that would be absolutely brilliant. So we're going to start, as I said, with a little bit of reading and writing numbers. So let's go through the place value columns. So on the end, they used to be called units, they're now called ones. Obviously we were really struggling with that concept of calling them units, so someone decided to change it to ones, so thank you whoever did that. So it goes, you can chant with me, by the way. For anyone who's been in my class knows that I like children to chant and call out numbers and things like that, just to stay engaged. So we've got ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, 100,000s, millions, and then tens of millions. So I'm going to rub away each unit at a time, or each digit at a time, and you can call out what the number is. So we're going to start off really, really nice and easy, okay? So hopefully you should have worked out that's a number 3. 73. I'm just going to change my pen over here slightly. 273. 6,273. 96,273. 796,273. We're now getting to the millions. So 4,796,000. You can see all the thousand columns there. 273. And last one, your tens of millions. So we've got 24,796,273. So when you're reading numbers, obviously a lot easier with commas. So the rule we follow with the commas is you count back 3 places and then put your comma in. So count with me. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. That separates the numbers out. So 24,796,273. Let's have a look at this next one. Let's count back 3 places and do the commas first of all. 1, 2, 3, comma. 1, 2, 3, comma. I think I struggled with the commas on the first one a little bit. So you can see here we've separated them into millions, thousands, and hundreds, tens, and ones. So say it with me. 53,241,802. So one of the common mistakes I often see with reading and writing numbers is when there's a 0 in there, if you then have to write it afterwards, people miss out the 0. So it's really important that we have these placeholders in. So this one, next one's going to get a bit trickier. So let's have a look at this one here. Let's put in the commas first of all. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Cool. So we've got our millions, our thousands, and our hundreds, tens, and ones. So here we go then. 70,314,039. Make sure you got that 0 in there as a placeholder. And last one, let's get those commas in. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So here we go. 40,120,082. 1. So I'm going to turn on to the next slide now, and we've got 4 different numbers. I want you to press the pause button, and when you have to go at writing them down, putting the commas in and reading them to yourself, and then we'll go through it together. Right, so here we are, everyone. If you press the pause button now, write them down, have a go at reading them out to yourself. Okay, so we're going to go through the answers now. If you remember, you have to count back 3 places and put the commas. 1, 2, 3, comma there. 1, 2, 3, comma there. You should know that it says 47,391,273. Let's have a look at the next one. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. So this one says 11,248,852. Get a bit tricky now because it's got some placeholders in this one. Let's count it back. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's have a look at this. 90,014,567. And last one. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. This one says 42,100,894. Okay, so we're going to go into some rounding now. Before we go on to some big numbers, I just want to show it in its simplest form so that we get the concept and we understand why we round before we go on some big numbers, and I'll give you a method for rounding those big numbers. Okay, so here we have the number 672. And I want to round it to the nearest 100. So when we're rounding, we're basically saying, is it closer to this number or is it closer to this number? And if it's halfway between the two, you always round it up. Okay, so we've got 672 and rounded it to the nearest 100. So hopefully you'll know 672 comes between 600 and 700. And halfway between the two is 650. So obviously, because it's over 672, we're going to round, it's over the 650, we're going to round it up. Okay, so you'd round that up to 700. Now, if it's a big number and you haven't got a number line and you've got to do it in your head, the way I like to do it is, if you're going to round to the nearest 100, I think about the column which you're rounding to. So I always underline the column that I'm going to round it to. Now, the important number is the number after the one you're rounding to. So we're going to look at the tens, okay? And because that 10 is a 5 or above, we are going to round it up. So sometimes I like to just draw a little arrow to show that you're rounding it up, just to remind you. You don't have to do that, you might have your own strategy. That's just how I like to do it. So we know that 672 to the nearest 100 is 700. So let's have a look at a big number when we've not got a number line. So the number says 789,928, and we're going to start off by rounding it to the nearest 10. So this is our tens column. The number after it is a 5 above, so we're going to round it up. So to the nearest 10, that should be 789,930. Just going to leave that there. Okay, the next one says we're going to round it to the nearest 100. So same drill as before. I'm going to underline my hundreds. The one after it is a 4 or below, so I'm going to round it down. I'm just going to put my little arrow there just to remind myself that's what I'm doing. So to the nearest 100 would be 789,900. Cool. Let's have a look at the next one. So I'm now rounding to the nearest 1,000. So here's our thousands column, and the one after it is a 5 or above. So I'm going to round it up. So it's going to be 789,000. I'm going to do a bit of mind reading. You're thinking, hold on a second, well 9 can't go any higher. So you're absolutely right. So when you get this situation here, where you've got a couple of 9s, you've got to go up into the next column. So this one, you've got to go right up into the tens of thousands, okay? So this should read 790,000. So that goes, your tens of thousands goes up to 9, and your thousands goes back down to 0. Of course, you've always got your zeros at the end. Let's do it to the nearest tens of thousands. So, usual drill, underline the tens of thousands, so that's a 5 or above. I'm going to round it up, so I'm going to do my little arrow to remind me. So, this one will also be 790,000. So 789,928 to the nearest thousand and tens of thousands. It's exactly the same answer. And you do get that sometimes. Okay, to the nearest 100,000. I'm going to underline my hundreds of thousands column. The number after it is an 8, so I'm going to round it up. So it's going to go all the way up to 800,000. Okay guys, so here are the questions for you to crack. So I suggest you press pause now before I go on to the answers. Okay, so here are the answers. Give that a pause so you can mark it properly. Here's the next lot, so you probably want to give that a pause too so you can mark it. And here's the last set of answers before we go on to the best in the business bonus questions. Okay, so I suggest you read the questions really carefully, think about the key information and press the pause button now before I go on to show the answers. Okay, so I'm going to go through the best in the business bonus questions now. So let's have a look at number 1. I'm going to underline some key information to make sure I pick that up. So what is the largest whole number that when rounded to the nearest 100,000 makes 700,000? So hopefully you've worked out that it's got to be a number larger than 700,000 because you're going to have to round it down, the largest whole number you're going to round to that number. Now halfway between 700,000 and 800,000 is 750,000. But of course if it's halfway between the two, you're always going to round it up. Okay, so if you think about one less than 750,000, which is 749,999, that is the largest whole number that when rounded to the nearest 100,000 would make 700,000. Let's have a look at the next one. The next one says the difference between two numbers is 7. When rounded to the nearest 1,000, one of those numbers makes 2,000. So one of the numbers, if you round it to the nearest 1,000, makes 2,000. When rounded to the nearest 1,000, the other number, the other number makes 3,000. Write down what the two numbers could be. That word could is important because it means there's more than one answer, right? Can you find all the possibilities? So I'm going to try and think about this logically so I get all the possibilities. So the smallest number, when rounded to the nearest 1,000, makes 3,000s, got to be 2,500 because that's right in between the two, right? So you're going to round that one up. So if I think about a number 7 less than that, that's going to be the lowest number that you'd round down because you can only go 7 apart. So the first one should be 2,493 and 2,500. Right, have a think now if you've not got the answer. What would the next one be? Probably one more than each, wouldn't it be? So the next one would be 2,494, and 2,501. Right, can you work out the pattern of what the next one will be now? 2,495 and 2,502, and so on and so forth. But you've got to stop when the lowest number gets to 2,499, because of course, one more than that, and you start rounding up. And let's have a look at the next one. Steve chooses a prime number. He multiplies it by 100, so it gets 100 times bigger, and then rounds it to the nearest 1,000. His answer is 2,000. Write all, again that means there's more than one answer. all the possible prime numbers he could have chosen. Right, so a number that when you multiply it by 100, it's got to go in between 1,500 and 2,499. So those are the numbers in between there that you round, when you round to the nearest 1,000 makes 2,000. So hopefully you should have worked out that the three prime numbers would be 17, because you multiply that by 100, it makes 1,700, 19, because it makes 1,900, and 23, because it makes 2,300. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe, be good, catch then.